What if I told you the best diabetes diet is not keto diet, not low carb, not vegan, but timing, portion control, and biology? Because here is the truth. Your body, to be honest, doesn't just care about what you eat. It cares about when, how, and how much. Very important. When, how, and how much. And if you're living with diabetes, this could actually change everything by just applying when, how, and how much you're eating at a particular point in time. Hi, my name is Nkiruka, a healthcare professional and someone living with diabetes. Today, I'm going to be breaking down something really powerful. I need you all to sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, we're going to talk about why diet is actually the cornerstone of diabetes management. Why different dietary approaches should not confuse you or put you in a state of confusion all the time. And how aligning your eating with your circadian rhythm can actually improve insulin sensitivity and your glucose control. So I'm going to simplify this clinically and practically. Section 1, diet is the foundation, but you have to have at the back of your mind that it's not one size fits all. In diabetes care, diet is not optional. It is foundational. I repeat, in diabetes care, diet is not optional, it's foundational. But here is where many people get stuck. You're on your low carb versus a high carb, or you're on your keto versus your plant-based, or your fasting versus your frequent meals. All of these dietary options kind of like trigger so much confusion. But clinically, we know that there is no universal or perfect diet for diabetes. And why is this? Because diabetes management is influenced by insulin sensitivity, medication or insulin therapy, your daily routine, culture and food access, and your lived experience. The goal is not to follow trends going around. The goal is to find what is actually sustainable for yourself as an individual living with diabetes, what is safe for you as an individual living diabetes, and what is effective for you as an individual living with diabetes. So let's head off to section 2. The real code is actually portion control. Now I'm going to simplify this. You can eat carbs. Yes, you can eat carbs. You can eat your traditional meals. Yes, you can. You can eat culturally relevant foods. Yes, you can. But the key here is right portion, right balance. So why does this matter? Excess meal portions equates to glucose spikes, but when you've got balanced meal portions, you have a smoother glucose response, and you have when your portions are predictable, it is easier for you to dose your insulin. Like for me, at the top of my head, if I go out to a restaurant, just looking at the portion of food in front of me, if it's a carb-based meal, let's use rice for example, I already know how much insulin I require to balance that portion of carbs right in front of me when I eat out. So if you're able to predict your portions, it makes your insulin dosing easier. And in low and medium income settings, you don't need expensive tools. All you need is actually a structured eating pattern. So now let's move on to section 3, where we're going to talk about the circadian rhythm, which is the missing link in diets, to be honest, for people who develop metabolic disorders. Now, this is where things get really, really interesting. I love everything about the circadian rhythm, honestly, and diet. It gets me excited when I think about it and when I talk about it. Your body actually runs on a biological clock, which is what we call scientifically as the circadian rhythm. And this affects how sensitive you are to insulin and how hormones are released and how glucose is metabolized. So if you're using the circadian rhythm to study, or rather to work out what works best for you in terms of your diet, you need to know that, firstly, from the morning to the early afternoon, your body is more insulin sensitive. So this is you working alongside your biological clock. And then when you move down to the late evening stroke the night, your body becomes more insulin resistant. So what happens when you eat late is that you're going to experience some high glucose spikes and poor overnight blood sugar control. And then you will end up needing more insulin to actually take care of that excess glucose spike that has happened. So this is where my dietary strategy really works so well for me. That is time restrictive eating. So I restrict my eating to timings of the day when I am more sensitive to the insulin that I inject. So it works perfectly well. It might not work for you, but it works for me, and it works for about 80% of persons living with type 2 diabetes who have tried time restrictive eating. So let us move on to section 4. Timing your meals for better control. Very, very important. So this is the strategy I propose. Eat more of your calorie-rich foods earlier in the day and reduce heavy late-night eating. Also consider structured eating windows. This is if it's safe for you as an individual. For me, time restrictive eating works like 100% for me, and I have very, very good glucose control and 0 to nothing glucose variability. So it works for me. Just go with what works for you. And then you should also align your meals when you're most active and you're taking your insulin therapy as well. So this will help everything work in tandem, because insulin is the key that unlocks your cells when glucose is metabolized from your carbohydrate meal. So it unlocks the cells, and then the cells open themselves up to take up the glucose and utilize it as a form of energy. And in turn, you don't have glucose pool in your bloodstream. So this works, this meal timing works very well for persons who are on multiple daily insulin injections or insulin pump, even people using oral medications. And it works absolutely well for the hybrid closed loop systems. Now, this is working because your biology plus your treatment are working together and not working against each other. So you can see where timing of the meal matters a lot. So you're working with your natural biological clock, and you are taking your treatment alongside. So they are both working in tandem, and this equates to better results and better glucose control. So they don't work against each other. Section 5, why we're going to talk about why this approach works. So I'm giving you a clinical and a practical overview. So when you combine your portion control, your circadian alignment, your individualized diet strategies, you may see reduced glucose variability and improved time in range. lower your insulin requirements, and better metabolic flexibility. So you're not rigid, you're flexible, you can do whatever you want, and most of all, your quality of life is totally improved. You're not thinking, oh, what am I going to eat today? Oh, I'm scared of eating this, I'm scared of eating that. You can eat whatever you want. Just align it with your body's biological clock. So, heading off to my final message for today. Let us shift this narrative. It's not about having strict diets. It's not about removing carbs completely from your meal, which is a big no-no. It's about you understanding your body, you're eating in the right portion, you're aligning with your biological clock, because the best diabetes diet is not a trend. I repeat, the best diabetes diet is not a trend. It is a strategy that is tailored for you as an individual by you aligning your dietary strategy with your circadian reading, which is the biological clock system of your body. You will get better glucose control. So my call to action today, if you feel this amazing video has helped you, share this with someone living with diabetes, and please hit that subscribe button for more real evidence-based diabetes education. And tell me in the comment section what eating pattern works best for you. I'll start off by answering that question. The eating pattern that works best for me is time restrictive eating. So it aligns so well with my biological clock system. And I want to say a big thank you all for sitting down and watching my video. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.